In this video I'm going to do a quick review of up to about 40 photographs taken by the photographic business Phox Studios around Mitcham in 1953. These were all donated to the Mitcham Library when the business closed, and they were submitted to Facebook by Colin Phox, a descendant of the owner of the business. Oh, and by the way, Phox Studios was spelt P-H-O-X so as not to get sued by the American movie company Fox. Let's get into it. First up, Cranmer Road, Mitcham. The view is from Cricket Green behind us, Madeira Road to the left, and ahead to Cranmer Road. You can see the hump in the distance of that bridge. Let's zoom in as far as we can go. Yes, you can see the bump there. So the Wilson Hospital will be down there behind the trees. To our left is Madeira Road, so that's Cranmer Green. And you can still see this lump there. That's the air raid shelter that's still there after the Second World War. This garage, Cranmer Motors, selling Regent petrol. That was a petrol station up until about 20 years ago. It's turned into a block of flats. Looks like Percy Carter and Bell's General Stores. So look at the next photo. This was taken from Elm Court in Arnfield Crescent. From a balcony you can see part of the building here, and the view is of the London Road. Those trees are where Figs Marsh is, and there's Bomb Road there. And this scrap piece of land here was part of the Elm Nursery and was turned into a car park, probably will be turned into flats. And here's there's some wood yard. Let's zoom in, a better view of everything. So there's the wood yard, timber yard of Anderson's. That's the London Road going up to the Figs Marsh, and there's a row of shops, and beyond that row of shops will be Evelyn Road, and so the Swan Pub is behind this row of houses, and this set of buildings are all demolished. Here would be where the garden centre is today, and behind that tree would be Ed Allen's Motor Supplies. Look at these old cars. Look at that. Lower Green East, Queen's Head. Now, these are all around about 1953, but Lower Green East as a road was renamed Cricket Green in 1944. So this might be slightly earlier. So that's the pub sign for the Queen's Head, which is out of shot to our left. There's the old police station. The current one was built in the early 60s. Is that the air raid siren up there? There's a ladder against it. These houses are still there. You can make out the Mary Tate Arms houses and the White Hart pub in the distance. Cricket Green, the fence around the actual pitch. Next one. This follows on from the one we just looked at where we saw London Road and the Bomb Road. That's Bomb Road in the corner there. There are those shops. And that building, that shop sitting out the front there, that's where Ed Allen's was. Not sure what it was at this time. What have we got in terms of zoom features? Let's go in. Can't make out what it's selling. Bunch of chaps standing outside it. I'll give you something for it. No, I want more than that. That's the thing. Signpost Tooting, A217. Signpost Streatham, A216. Old Pram. That's Dale's Builders. That's here. Stanley Dale. And you just make out Truman's. That's the Gardener's Arms. That building there. And that looks like a trolley bus coming our way. And so these are the overhead wires for the trolley bus. So two cables for the pickups. You can see the pub sign for the Swan. It's behind, it's set back from the road. You can't see the actual building itself. And I've got a better photograph of this, but that says Evelyn Tea Rooms. Now I'm pronouncing it Evelyn. I know on the buses today they say it's Evelyn. but that's the way we used to pronounce it, and that's the way I'm going to stick to it. Bus stop there has got two different colours. What's that for? Is that for London Transport buses? And not sure. If you know, let me know in the comments. Zoom out. And next one. Right, on the Beehive Bridge, it says Commonside East, that's correct. And we're looking back towards the Three Kings Pond and Mitcham. And, oh look, there's that air raid shelter there. And someone's burning something. So, that's an air raid shelter. So there's the pond, Three Kings Pond. And some shops here. This is all housing now, but Tony's Ices. There, between the shops and the houses, is a path called Lavender Walk, and you would come down here, up these steps. There is a gap here, across the road, and there's a continuation of the path. The outline of that path is quite ancient. Goes back to Anglo-Saxon times. It connects the east fields of the village with the west fields. You would continue this path across Three Kings Piece over to Cold Blows, down to the cricket green, to the western fields. Gasworks in the distance. We can see 3 gas holders. What's that chimney for? Don't know. You can see this Tudor pattern here as part of the Three Kings pub. There's a vehicle here with a registration of KPK 6 or 849. And this is Beehive Bridge looking the other way. In other words, towards Croydon. So, Commonside East, Common on the right hand side. 2 chimneys in the distance are the power station at Croydon. That chimney, not so sure. What can we see? We zoom all the way in. Someone walking his bicycle in the road up the Beehive Bridge. What a good chap. Not cycling down it like a mad person. That's Cedars Avenue that goes across. A bus is coming. The Beehive Bridge was rebuilt towards the end of the Second World War and finished after the Second World War to accommodate the double-decker buses, the 118 service that was there all the way up until last year. The number changed to a 45. It's a 45 route and it goes somewhere else. But I always knew it as a 118. Yes, and that's the power station. Can't see any gas holders. On we go. Now we're looking at the Swan Mitcham, so now we can see the pub. Hurrah! So there's the Swan pub. Someone's parked outside. It says teas and refreshments on the other side of this wall, as we saw earlier on. It said evening tea rooms. So that's the tea rooms of the business called the Evening Tea Rooms, named after the road that goes down there, Evening Road. So Figsmosh is to our right. There's a road sweeper in action there. Well, his cart's there. Don't know where he is. Someone's posting a letter. Someone's riding a bicycle in the road. And this is Lang's Corner, and there's the clock, which went missing at some point. Yeah, it did actually say on it Lang's Corner. That's the London Road, and there's possibly what became of Ed Downs later, or might be Ed Downs then, but don't know. So this junction was called the Swan after the pub, and the bus stops were called the Swan, and that got changed when the pub got demolished and awful block of flats was put there instead, ugly block of flats, and they changed the name of the bus stops. Why? Anyway, so you get a bus, it says, next stop, Eveline Road. They even mispronounce it. Anyway, moving on. Here we are again, looking at a different angle. So now we're looking, there's London Road going up to Tooting, that's the Streatham Road, and that's the Evelyn Road there, and it looks like a baker's, doesn't it? Hovis. I always know it's a shoe shop. Webb's. Cecilia hairstylist, a ladies hairdresser type thing. And not sure if that was that's always been a fish and chip shop, but it's a Chinese shop now. Chinese restaurant. No. Chinese takeaway place called Oysters, I think. A friend of mine says it's alright. And okay, so this is the lighting in the centre of the road and the power lines for the trolley buses. And that's Lavender Avenue there. Big Smash. Can't really make anything out on this. Needs to be pegged areas. Church Road, Mitcham. Looking towards the church, so the cricket, the lower green mast is behind us. That building there is the Ball Pub. This building here has been demolished. I think it led into the council depot. These cottages remain part of the conservation area. That building remains, but some of the other buildings around it were demolished. And the trees here hide Hall Place. Which was the home of Baronet Worsfold. Mitcham Common. So we're looking at the railway line. So this is a view from the Beehive Bridge. And that bridge there would be called the Blue Houses Bridge in those days. It's not called that anymore. It's just the road that's the bridge over the railway line, and over there will be the roundabout with Carshalton Road, Croydon Road going that way to Croydon. And the Ravensbury Pub somewhere over here. That building there looks like the public convenience that was opposite the Ravensbury Arms and near the bus stop or trolley bus stop at this point for buses to and from Croydon. This is basically Three Kings Piece. These are the old houses. Nothing much to see here. Move on. I like this photo. There's a lot in it. The view is of the London Road, the Mitcham Baths to the right, Eagle House over there to the left, the industrial schools to the left, and an entrance here to possibly Gray's Yard. I like this for a number of reasons. One is this post here. When you look at earlier photographs of when the baths was bedecked with flowers for the coronation of George VI in 1937, there were lamps on top of this. So this one and the other one over there you can see from the shadow, you can't see it in the photo because it's obscured by this post, are Art Deco ironwork pylons for supporting lamps. And these ones are gone, but something similar still exists at Madeira Road to the entrance to the Canon's Lodge. So that's gone. A road was pushed through there, and that became the extension of St Mark's Road. 200 bus stops there somewhere, and then you can go into the multi-storey car park, which is all going to be thrown away for flats. And here's a row of shops, and there's a gap, and to the back there is the Methodist Church, Baptist Church, something like that. So these buildings still exist. You can just make out here this white building of Down Road, and these flats for Armfield Crescent. So that block of flats there is Elm Court, where the photograph was taken earlier on. The photograph I looked at earlier on was taken from. And this building here, or these buildings, is the Monarch Parade buildings. You can make out from this photograph that you can see the brickwork, but today it's, well, for as long as I've known it, from the 60s onwards, it was covered in render, in plaster. And as I say, here's the various posts for the lighting and the trolley buses. And yes, it's a very interesting photo. Lots of things going on here. There's even a fellow over here. There's probably a window washer fellow. Look at the ladders he's got on there. Yes, there's even an awning here. And one of the comments to this one is, home radio opposite Eagle House, left of the Baptist Church, proper window cleaner on bike. Yes. I like this photo as well. So this road here is Elmwood Road, London Road, looking towards the Fair Green. It says post office, yes, but it's also the telephone exchange, because back in those days the post office did the telephone network as well before it all got privatised. This signage still exists, except that plate has been taken off because there no longer is a Cumberland House Hospital. But those ones are still there. This low wall is the edge of a house that was demolished after being damaged by a bomb that fell over here, which destroyed some houses, by V1 in 1944. I'm going to make a separate video of that, because I think it's quite fascinating. The house that was built here was quite an interesting looking house. I'm not sure whether these fellas are on their way to the pub or coming back from it. Where it says petrol. Petrol was supplied here from this garage, which was Gresham Motors for a period of time. Block of flats has been put there. These jagged tops of the buildings. This was originally called the Parade when it was built in the early 1900s. This grey building in the distance there, you can see, is the Majestic Cinema, and you can just make out the public convenience. This board here is for a company called Spears, S-P-E-I-R-S Limited. I presume it's pronounced that way. You can see piles of wood and building materials. They were the builders who constructed the Glebe Court estate, which is being built in this photograph over here. On Road, Figs Marsh. Yes, so this photograph is now with Tooting behind us, Figs Marsh on the left. And what is of interest, apart from the fact there's hardly any traffic, is here. This is a boundary marker stone, which unfortunately has got so worn you can't actually read what it says on it. But that's where there was a toll gate when this was a turnpike back in the 18th century. Cricket Green, Mitcham. vestry hall still has the bell tower on the top. That bell was for... The bell is missing. You can work it out from here. You can't actually see. There's a gap. There's a hole there. The bell was rung to call the volunteer firemen to service. The bell was eventually replaced by individual telephone lines to firemen's houses. That's a story in itself. You can't quite see the whole building because of the trees. But the temporary Cricketers Arms pub is there. Destroyed by enemy action during the war, and the new pub wasn't actually reopened until the end of the 50s. There's the old Barclays Bank on the corner. The building is still there, as is that building, but you can just about make out an awning there. White Hart. Here's a better photograph of the town hall, vestry hall, as we know, or usually know it as. So as I say, there, at the moment, today, that's the top of the building, but that canopy, I've got some really good blow-up photographs of this, and it's amazing the work they put into it. There was a single bell there. So the basic idea is that when this was opened in 1887, the fire service kept their wagon over here, which was horse-drawn. So this was a stables. And these were offices that were shared by various vestries, as in the church, the Mitcham vestry, the forerunner of a council, also the Croydon sanitary district, rural district, and so forth, and the fire service. So the basic idea would be someone would run to this building and say there's a fire at such and such a place, and the janitor, if you like, who lived on the premises, would ring that bell. By the time the firemen arrived, a better idea of where the fire was, and they could get the horse attached to the wagon, and off they went. Then over a period of time, this method was changed to eventually people ringing the town hall directly, and then when the 999 system came in, and the system improved to the point where they actually had dedicated street alarm, and the system improved so they actually had a system of dedicated public fire alarms. You could actually smash the glass, pull the handle at a particular location out next to where the fire was, because a lot of these street fire alarms were next to places that tended to go up in flames, like varnish factories, and the fire service would actually see an indicator on a control panel come up, and they'd know exactly where the fire was, and they'd race to it within minutes. It all got replaced by the 999 system. You see the hut at the back there, which is now the Wandle Industrial Museum. And a bit of low green west, and possibly from this angle, can't really tell. On the road, Upper Mitcham. So the top end of Figs Marsh on our right, we're looking towards Tooting, and to our left, here is the end of a row of houses between Victoria Road and Crusoe Road that were destroyed in the war here. So this building is is what was built in the place. You can still see some Nissen huts here. So that was housing that was destroyed by the enemy action. I've done a separate video on that because there is footage on YouTube on the British Pathé newsreel channel. Here's the Lex garage, and that was a garage for some time, petrol station, and then that leads up to Tooting Station just behind this building. Looks like a motorcycle combination there, motorcycle and sidecar. On the road, Lower Mitcham. This looks like the bridge over the River Wandle. Improved recently, strengthened, and then it collapsed. I had to rebuild it completely. For some time it was the quietest part of Mitcham when this road was blocked off. Yes, that's the Mitcham Bridge over the River Wandle. So Ravensbury Park over here and the Watermeads over there. The fair on Three Kings Peace, I would say, and the photograph taken from the Beehive Bridge with the railway line, so this way towards Streatham and that way towards Mitcham Junction. Yes, the fair. Another view of the fair, this time from Commonside West. And that church spire you can see there is St Mark's Church in St Mark's Road. But these buildings here on the horizon are Armfield Crescent. So possibly this building you're looking at here is Coningsby Court. So this is Commonside West leading back towards the Three Kings Pond. Chalet Gardens. That's at the chalet on the road, Figs Marsh on the other side of the road to our right. And the floral display here. And here's one of the displays, a floral lavender lady. Ah, I see it now. There's a hat. There's a bag she's carrying, and this is her dress, and oh, it's a shame we haven't got a colour photograph of this. And behind you can see the part of the chalet. I think that was a bowling green over there. Yes, very good. Oh, there's a colour photograph of it. Yes, I presume this bag that she's carrying, or something else. Where's her feet? Down there somewhere. 1953, Coronation Crest, Elizabeth II. But a photo of the chalet. An earlier photograph I saw of the chalet had the chalet written on the top on the roof. No doubt taken off when the war broke out. Don't want to give any clues to the Luftwaffe, do you? Fairgreen. Coronation Week, 1953. I might say MEARS. That was a local firm. That doesn't ring a bell. The public toilets, public conveniences. There's the clock tower, its original position. King's Arms pub, you can see an Upper Green East over there. Tudor type building. All the bunting for the coronation. Western Road School. Which was boys and girls and kept quite separate. There's the boys' entrance. And there's the girls' entrance. I never went there myself, but one of my cousins has told me all about it. The dust destructor. So basically this was the incinerator of its day. Dust being a term for rubbish. Also, the area around it was a place for settling scores. If an argument broke out in the Bath Tavern on Rocky, it could be settled gentlemanly the next day on the dust. A bare knuckle fight, no doubt. Denham Crescent. One car. I mean, that must be really annoying. Can't you move that car? No. Alright then. Fair Green. Look at the gas holder over there. These buildings at the beginning of Western Road have been demolished. There's Hutton's fish shop. This building is still there, it's quite old. This building is there. Those chimneys are for the Nag's Head pub, which is just out of view. And this shelter, heavily vandalised, and was eventually got rid of. Church Road, Mitcham. Looking towards, difficult to say. I think this might be looking towards Collier's Wood. Oh, a petrol station. People sell petrol from their houses or something. T.W. Palmer, Structural Engineers, Church Road. Bread delivery van over here says prices. So which way are we looking? This is looking back towards Mitcham, isn't it? T.W. Palmer on our right in this photograph is on the west side of the road. Yes, quite a lot of industry was along Church Road. Bramcote Avenue. Wilson Hospital. Oh, the size of that pond. So this is Cranmer Road. This pond's huge. Unless it was no, there's ducks on it. Fox Lane level crossing. And building materials over here. No. Is that building materials or is it demolition? Basically this is where the Laburnum Court estate was built. It's signed there for Waits. So they may well have been the builders for the Laburnum Court. That building over there is Renshaw's. Ground first and second, so 3-storey building. The top floor was where they sorted the almonds. My father was an almond grader. He was in charge of that floor. We had a great time. There's a signal box. When the level crossing was revised, they put another signal box over here. At one period of time, there were 2 signal boxes. That was being greedy, wasn't it? Also, you note that there isn't a roundabout here at that point. The roundabout apparently was put in to try and slow the traffic down, to try and buffer it as it crossed the railway line. Here we go. So there's the level crossing over here, which is what we just looked at. And yes, that pile of bricks was part of the building site. This is the building site being done. And you can make out this structure here, which does say on the side, because I've seen a better photograph of this, it says Mitcham Stadium. So The Mitcham Stadium was also demolished and turned into houses built by Waits, and they also had these flats as well. Flats are still there. And now there's a railway station at Mitcham Eastfields. And that's the allotments at Eastfields looking towards the railway line. He said, yeah, because there's the signal box. And the allotments are still there. Three Kings Pond and the firm of T.G. Baker Builders, and that fellow had something to do with the Tooting and Mitcham Football Club, and I've forgotten what it was. He might have been the secretary or the chairman or something. So that's Commonside West we're looking at. Oh, there's a cart in there as well. Another view. Oh, there's the cart again. So I guess that's when someone used the pond to... Oh, someone's made a comment. I think they used to soak the wooden cartwheels to stop them shrinking off the metal braces. Yes. This is Commonside West. And the Windmill pub is that way. East Surrey Regiment crest at the chalet. And that's it. Back to the beginning. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Press the like button if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Leave comments. Bye for now.